most classic, simplest things are always the hardest, right? How many times have we tried to cut a perfect straight line, right? Or do a perfect classic pony with no bumps or bristles or anything like that? No gapping, yes. So one of the looks this season is going to be tousled high ponies. So this is going to be Tyne's look. Tyne Hall. Now,
it's Jess's lead.
Tousled ponies are just as hard as perfect ponies because you have to start with a perfect pony base. So I'm going to demo how to do a perfect high pony first, and then kind of show you what I did on another mannequin to make it have a tousled effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bristle brush. Well, first I'm going to take my tail comb. I'm going to part, as you can see here, ear to ear. When you're trying to do a perfect pony, if you try to do it all in one fell swoop, it makes it 10 times as difficult. Am I right?
Yes.
That's a lot of hair to hold in your hand. It's a lot of hair to get into an elastic. And it's a lot of hair to try and make sure it's all perfect. So I split it in half using my tail comb. We're using perfect partings because the more you learn perfect things, the more you practice perfect things, the more perfect you get. Although there's no such thing as perfect.
Perfect practice makes perfect.
Exactly.
Speak for yourself.
So,
Practice makes perfect.
Yes, does everything perfect. So, one of the things when working with models during Fashion Week, we're never going to have them in a salon chair. But also, your body positioning is important as well to make sure you last as long in your career as possible. So do not be afraid to have the model move how you need them to move. If that means tilting their hair back or slouching down in a chair a little bit. That way your posture stays good, that way you're not killing yourself, you last all week, and you last for as long as you want to in your career.
Yeah.
So taking my cushion brush, I'm easily and gently brushing her hair completely to the top of her head. Now we're doing this because Tyne's look is on the top of her head. It's not just the models.
Your model found it behind, just so you know.
Hold your head up.
So, what I'm doing is
There's
I'm
a
brushing
couple.
her, right? This model's lovely. She has a nice little shoulder, big lip touch.
Little pop shoulder.
Right?
She's like,
So I'm brushing it all straight up, and I'm brushing it all the way through the ends. Why is that important?
Get all the tangles out.
Get all the tangles out, and if we're over brushing, see how it's all direction? If I'm just brushing to my fingers, am I getting all of that in my hair, or in my hand? No. So we're gonna brush past. There are a couple ways to do this. I like to use non-aerosol hairspray. You can also put some mousse on here first and directionally blow dry if you want, but in the essence of trying to use as little power as possible, I'm just going to show you the wet hairspray, so the non-aerosol. So I'm taking my non-aerosol hairspray and I'm spraying in the direction that I'm brushing. What direction? Why would I not want to spray the opposite direction?
Because then it's not going to fall to the bottom.
Exactly. Especially if you're using any kind of aerosol or anything like that. It will create more flyaways. So now that I have it all up, I'm going to take what we learned with Jessa and go vertically. How many of you have done a ponytail with a hair elastic, like just a regular hair elastic, and you get it in and then all of a sudden it's not tight?
yep.
So using bungees, or what I like to use is cut elastic string, which I spent last night cutting 200 elastic strings for Fashion Week
For you guys.
for you guys.
Say thanks, Joe.
Puppy
So
Joe.
welcome.
Happy.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna brush past. I'm gonna grab with my first finger, and then roll my fingers in. So what does that do? That tightens it as you're grabbing it. I'm then going to take, thank you, a hair string, or hair elastic string, and I'm gonna have my teammate tie for me. This is where teamwork works. So we're going to wrap it twice, and then when we go to tie it, who knows how to do a square knot?
A square knot?
Yes, exactly. You wrap it twice, you go under twice.
There's one.
If you can't see, please come see.
There's another one.
Yes,
Right?
yep, so pull
that
tight.
tight.
And then you're gonna use your finger to stick there, while your teammate will do the exact same thing again.
So wrap twice. So
Mhm.
there's one. And again.
Perfect. Now, see how nice and tight that is? Now,
Teamwork makes the dream work, right? Yes.
if there happens to be a little schnookie that's hidden, instead of taking our comb and combing through it, what's that gonna do?
Mess up your pony.
It's gonna mess up your pony, it's gonna possibly cause breakage. We're gonna take the end of our tail comb, we're gonna smooth it up.
So are you sticking it in the hair?
Yeah.
Yes,
That little
but
rubber.
just on the surface,
Oh, okay.
and we're gonna move that up.
Yeah, any sort of tension with a comb that you put in there, even if you're just like barely with a fine tooth on the outside of it, is gonna start to buckle that pony and create those it's like bubbles underneath your actual
You're actually causing more
Elastic.
issues.
And
So-
unfortunately, this is a show, right? So we have to have a 360. It's not just the front, like the people will see the back too.
And so then I'm gonna use a little bit more spray, and instead of using my comb, I'm gonna take the back side of it and all those little flyaways, those shorter hairs, I'm gonna smooth it with the back of my comb.
Do you ever use your blow dryer to seal that in as well?
Yes. And also sometimes,
Toothbrush.
just lightly,
No
just on the
power.
outside.
If there was no power,
Right. Because there will be times where you're like on an editorial photo shoot, out in the middle of nowhere, and you have no power.
You could use a baby color brush too.
So, now that I have that set, I'm then going to take my front and basically do the same thing. Thank you so much. Making sure I don't brush so far down that I'm catching the elastic, but really just working it into the ponytail. I'm taking the ends of my elastic string, making sure they're out of the way.
Joe, for this look, just out of curiosity, because I'm not doing it. If girls come in with textured hair, would you still recommend smoothing them out first and then ponying them, or smooth them with their texture to the pony and then go from there?
That's a really great question, and it kind of just depends on what kind of natural texture they have. If they're a 3 and 4 level textured curly, I would smooth them out a little bit with a blow dryer and brush, not a flat iron, just because we don't want to take all their texture away, and then kind of reassess where their texture's at and re-add in if necessary.
Would you do the whole head or just the perimeter where it's gonna be seen? Ooh, it's like a question.
10 points to
Can we
Gryffindor.
give her?
Yeah. Love
Who
it.
knows the answer?
The perimeter.
The perimeter. Don't overwork yourself.
Also for timing, some of these teams, like there's a day that there's like 20 models on one of Joe's teams.
And two
Which one is
people.
Dark Moth,
Oh,
We're gonna be just
oh yeah,
fine.
that's right.
first day. So, yes, that's a
Noises.
really great question, thank you.
Thank you for that. That was amazing. All right, so we want to make sure whoever's holding these isn't like kind of getting them in the way, so we can brush.
So Joe said, move this out of the way.
Passive Gently and respectfully.
Gently.
That's just because you guys are here. He wouldn't have said it that way.
I've been like, "Bitch, get out." So, maintaining the integrity of our bottom ponytail and brushing all of this into that.
I think same thing with side parts. Make sure those ponytails are all where they're supposed to
In the
be.
same place.
Yeah, that's
So
always fun when
then-
you get a leaning pony.
I'm gonna
It's like this.
grab with my top finger first, roll down, and then I'm gonna have my teammate go ahead and use those pieces. There we go.
It's in your hand.
Fantastic. Here's where you should be.
Uh-oh.
Oh, see? And then we're gonna wrap it the same way, twice.
Oh, you don't go back around the whole guy. Just do
You
the
can,
front.
depending on how much hair they have, because this is a smaller section though.
Oh.
So I'm gonna hold it for her. And then she's gonna pull super tight. And then I'm going to double, as you can see, we have a little bit of sides that need to be adjusted a little bit. I'm gonna go in and put it all together. Notice I'm not digging in, I'm gently just surface. All right. That one. Sometimes it happens, so you have to redo it a little bit. But you get the general gist of that, as now that's my fault. But from there, to wrap a pony, how many of you wrap a ponytail with a bobby pin and then just like leave the pin in there? Right, so then you have to figure out how to hide the bobby pin. That's how I did it for years until I watched the Sambia video once.
It is Zambia. That's
Yes. So,
Teach us, Sammy.
we're gonna take 2 large hairpins.
How many?
2.
What type?
Hairpin. Large.
And what's the difference between a hairpin and a bobby pin?
Those are wider.
Tension.
Tension.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna go in through the center of my ponytail and just kind of like let that hang out there. Oh,
The loop.
yeah.
With your body.
Same. What's that? What's that?
So,
Especially for like braids.
Everything.
Oh, I know.
so we're gonna take a small section of hair. We're going to wrap it around the ponytail twice. We're going to take one hairpin around the wrap hair.
Like thread in a.
Mm-hmm. And once that's there, we're gonna take the other hairpin. We're gonna stick it down through the loop of the bobby pin. And we're gonna thread, if you can't see, please come up, because we're gonna thread it
We'll
in.
walk around with you guys this too.
We'll thread it into the bobby pin, or the hairpin,
No, don't be.
pull through, and then we're gonna pull that through and move that around. Of course, I've now messed up this because it wasn't tight enough. So, that is the general, and we wanna make sure it ends up going down underneath the rest of the ponytail. So, what's that? Yeah, you pull it through. So, the look that we've seen in town is more of a messy ponytail. We can see that it's up perfectly on top of her head. What I did was I literally took the 1 inch around her perimeter, left that out. I did a perfect pony on top, perfect classic tight pony. And then I barrel wrapped the perimeter, all of this, and then brought that into the pony as well. From there, I would then do the same thing on the rest of the hair. There we go. Making sure I'm not bending over too far. So, I'm going to take 1 inch all the way around. Making sure I have good posture so we're doing squats. You can get a workout in while doing hair. Keeping clean partings. And then I'm going to do the same thing up here. Now, especially with these tousled ponies, it doesn't have to be as perfect, so you don't need to use as much product. But the technique of tying is the same. The technique of bringing it up as high as possible is still the same.
So this, we're not brushing all the way through the ends on this one? right?
What's that?
We're not brushing through the ends with the tassel?
Yep, we still are.
Oh.
I'm gonna take it down and win a piece of no. This isn't karaoke.
Yes,
I'm
it
gonna hold
is.
it tightly,
Can be.
rolling down.
No,
Perfect.
I know it.
Thank you. And so my friend here, Miss Danielle, is going to tie the same exact way. Now, what do we notice?
It's a little
It's
loose.
a little high.
Yes, I'm not on the base. So even us, as we're holding the hair, it's not Danielle's job to make sure it's tight, it's mine. So I'm resting my head on the scalp, then rolling in. I also want to make sure it's close to the other one. So then I just rotate my wrist just a little bit.
Okay, so there's my double wrap.
Double wrap.
So there's 1, 2,
Pull,
pull tight,
hold, and double again.
1, 2.
All right, so see how,
We did better on that one, right?
right? Exactly. I'm still gonna make sure it's there, but because we are doing a tousle, we have our perimeter that we can then work on covering those part lines as well. Now she has some shorter hair, but
She has
you can see how we would then use that to kind of bring in
Yeah, true.
and then create. Now, who likes to tease? Right?
Hair?
Yeah.
Good catch, good catch. So, when we tease, there's 2 ways we can tease. We can just go to town of it without
Yeah.
intention. What's that good for?
Hot Message Express.
Hot mess Jess. Express. Hot mess Jess.
That's how I tease, so bring it on.
So, we're going to tease with intention. So, this is a great ponytail, but it's not very voluminous or very tousled. I just used her natural texture on this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take just a little bit of texturizing spray or a working spray, you can do either one.
No dry shampoo.
No dry shampoo.
Okay? Shouldn't even be in your kit.
So, there's a difference between teasing and packing. Packing is teasing with intention. So we're gonna go through and very gently, just ever so gently, pack that to the root. Okay? Then I like to always smooth out the top just a little bit. Now, a lot of people like to use a teasing comb. I just use a regular comb. I don't really see the need for,
Fine tooth?
yes, a fine tooth, the fine side of my comb, because I don't really see the need for extra. When you're doing it correctly,
Can I take big sections if I'm packing?
No,
Why?
because that does not consistently and evenly pack it.
Did you guys hear that?
Now, if you come up closer, you'll see that I'm not inserting my comb all the way. I'm literally just gently using about half of that section of hair. I'm moving it down, pack it in. This will mean when she goes to comb out her hair later, she's not ripping through a ton of teasing and rat's nest. She can a lot easier brush her hair out. So using small sections, a little bit of spray. If their hair is textured enough, you don't necessarily need to use the spray. Just gently packing it in. And it's easy, especially if you're in a hurry, to start like grabbing bigger sections. Be OCD. Be gentle. You don't need to rip out their hair to get a good pack. You see, it's been referred to before as even French lacing. Like if you know some old school terms. Classic
We
hairdressing.
rename everything. Okay.
It's called French kissing.
That's what James will teach you how to do.
What
So
questions
then-
do you guys have so far? About tousled tie or sleek tie?
Why not dry shampoo? What, I don't know why.
Would you like to cover this?
So, dry shampoo, one, model's hair should be clean. We shouldn't be using it. Two, what is dry shampoo?
It kind of mattifies it.
It mattifies, and it's a powder. It's meant to dry out the hair. Where are we?
Colorado?
Colorado. Do we have any moisture in the air?
Nope.
No. So the more we use dry shampoo, the more staticky their hair is going to get, and then you've actually created more of a problem for yourself than a solution. So I like to use the texturizing spray. One, it has a little bit of moisture, has a little bit of shine, but it still has enough grit to it to make sure you can hold that tease.
And it'll definitely mattify as well. So if I have models that have beautiful clean hair and we did beautiful ponies and one that like I dry shampooed, they won't look cohesive on the runway.
And then it can get on the clothes too, right?
Exactly. But hopefully they're not in the clothes while we're doing their hair. But I like to use a toothbrush just to like smooth out the surface, going vertically like Jessa taught us earlier, just because it's basically a boar bristle, just a really small boar bristle brush. You can use a baby color brush too, but it just makes sure the surface isn't teased and matted looking. So much like here. Just kind of making sure that it's where we want it to be. Because we want it to be messy, tassels, but we don't want it to be disgusting looking.
So you only did the packing on the back pony?
I did earlier on the top one, yeah. All right, any questions? Anybody?
So which one of that picture is this guy with the front one and then the second one right underneath?
So
Or was it not
really
in the
there,
pictures? or
it's going
we
to be
need
just
to
a
know?
single ponytail.
Okay.
So
It's just
It's just
bite-sized pieces to get there.
separating it so you're not trying to get it all into
Type
one.
Okay.
What we can do now is literally go in and bungee these two ponytails
Gotcha.
together. And then wrap it,
Polish refined.
Yeah,
so that way it looks like a single pony.
I understand.
That make sense?
I'm blonde, sorry.
No,
No.
you're fine. You're also at a different elevation. All right, so if there are no questions, let's practice a perfect pony. Because once you get the perfect pony, then you can throw in the 1 inch surrounding as well to make it a toss-up. All right?